Good morning, Bonface. Well, it's morning on Treaty One.
Good
So
morning.
welcome here.
Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, so I'm coming to you from Treaty One. I'm on the eastern shore of Lake Manitoba. I'm Darci Adam, the founder of Wheat, and we are on the homeland of the Red River Valley Métis here, which is ancestral lands of the Innu, Anishinaabe, Dene, Dakota, and Oji-Cree. And we're right on the lake here on Lake Manitoba at Painted Sky Studio, and it's still winter here. So we've got winter wonderland out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So welcome to you. Tell us where you are and who you are.
Thanks, Darcy. So it's always a privilege to speak to you as you wake up, as the sun sets here in Nairobi, Kenya, where I am speaking to you from. As you can see, my background from the land of the Maasai. If I will be able to acknowledge, this land was never ceded to the Maasai people, who are the indigenous owners of Nairobi. The name Nairobi means the place of cool waters in Maasai language. And the symbol of Maasai around the world is this quilt behind me. So I am so honored to be on their land.
Beautiful. Thank you, Bonface. And we're here today to learn a little bit more about you as an instructor with the Weaving Braids of Belonging program, where we're looking to bring expressive arts into people's understanding of equity, diversity, inclusion in the workplace. And you have a very extensive background in expressive arts, and also a very unique perspective on equity, diversity, and inclusion, being from Nairobi and working in Manitoba, which is really how we came to know each other. So I'd like you to share about your background and who you are.
Well, thanks again. So I come with a whole package of experiences. One, like I usually say, I am a peace builder because of my lived experience in this part of the world in Nairobi, Kenya, working in conflict society, working on politically engineered conflicts, but also as an artist. So I always say, like, the art found me, you know, and I also found the art. So my philosophy is I work at the very privileged intersection between the arts and peace building, or social change, or social justice. And that gives me the philosophy of looking at the importance of holding together diversity constructively, because conflict is basically social conflict. It's identity-based. It's also rooted in historical trauma of people, as well as how people make meaning of their lives. So to kind of work with grassroots people, that is my work, to create stories of peace as turning points from the stories of conflict and violence.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So that's sort of our macrocosm of the work. And then if we bring that down into a microcosm of people coming into training from very specific workplaces, can you talk a little bit about that, how your experience can help meet people where they're at in their particular work locations with their particular situations and dilemmas that they deal with that might have, relate to equity, diversity, and inclusion? How do you approach that?
Yeah, so briefly, I could say my own lived experience as an African, actually African male immersed. I have worked in Africa, but I've also worked in other very diverse cultures, especially in Winnipeg. I've worked in Europe. I've just also worked in the US. So and what has emerged for me actually out of my work experience is the fact that there is need for acknowledgement of these spaces, especially the workspaces become very contested on very many levels, not just on issues of structural violence or structural oppression or difference, but also on difference. So difference is very critical for me. Working internationally, but also working in Winnipeg, in Manitoba, as a person of the African race and African descent, and also going to school there at the University of Manitoba and working with diverse groups of people around the city has given me kind of an inner look on dynamics of workplaces, because I have also worked with organizations. I've worked with mostly organizations in Manitoba, and Canada being a very diverse country, coupled with my international diversity of working with different people and on issues of social equity and justice, I have this confidence that I bring experience to these spaces that are shaping because of different races, different gender, different enablement, how people are able differently into the workplace. That is where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm. And the arts bring such a unique component because, many workplaces would not consider themselves as having a connection to the arts or see why the arts might be important as a tool for understanding. Can you talk a little bit about how how the arts can serve as a tool for deeper understanding and awareness for people? How does that work?
Yeah, because basically, so the arts bring in the aspect of the body and embodied learning, which is totally different from just didactic learning. That is usually the common culture in many places. There's a lot of things that we learn just by being in places and by just occupying spaces. And that in itself is what we bring to this experience. Such that, what does it mean to have these unique encounters across difference artistically? And the philosophy is that if we can be able to be fantastic artistically, then we can be fantastic in real life, because the arts embody the stories of the people. It embodies the lived experiences of the people, rather than reading about them in a book or in a PowerPoint presentation. Interaction brings, people call them mirror neurons, but there is more than just mirror neurons, because then in our field of expressive arts, we think in terms of getting into rhythm with others, the rhythm of work, the rhythm of just living life in the spaces, because spaces are very political, spaces are also very contested, and then spaces also carry meaning. And embodying the meaning is different from just being told about difference. And that is what the arts are able to accomplish.
Yeah, I sense that even with the cloth of the Maasai people behind you there, you're in a space, you're in Nairobi, you're in a certain weather system, as we are here, in Manitoba with the coming of spring and with the snow starting to melt, but it's still winter here. It still looks like winter. There's a lot of snow. Yeah, so really helping people to locate themselves through story, through the arts, so that deeper conversations can emerge. Is there anything else you wanted to add about, just in their closing minute, about yourself and who you are and where you're coming from and how this is all coming together in Weaving Braids?
Can you hear me?
We just have about a minute left, Bonface.
Yeah, so I think I lost you for a little bit of time. I would like to say, like you said, so the quilt here with different colors means a lot of things. Like you pointed out, locating ourselves in the workplace also means the same things. And meaning making out of these experiences is what the arts are able to kind of embody and create a metaphor. Because the arts use metaphor, and metaphor of space, metaphor of the workspace. The workspace all of a sudden becomes kind of like a character in a play. And you can be able to explore possibilities when you think about relations across identities, relations across different ranks in the organization. So that can only be accomplished through artistic means as we locate ourselves within the workspace as a space for transformation.
I love that. Beautiful. The workplace as a space for transformation. Well, thank you, Bonface, for sharing about a little bit about yourself and about your beliefs. And we're very excited to welcome you into the Weaving Braids program, and also welcome you as a leader at WEAT. So we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.